to explain to you why you keep having bad hair days and find some solutions, because that's what we do here. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel with your main girl, your curl mama Mel. I'm a curly hair professional stylist. I know hair, I've lived with hair, I learned all the things to do, and this video, if you are new, is a great place to get started on the channel because it's gonna be a great big old summary of a lot of techniques that are crucial, absolute key, with so much more. So if you've got an issue, here's a tissue. This video is not sponsored by Scotty's, but it is made in partnership with my good friends over at Curlsmith. Oh no, let me just reach-a-roo and introduce you to the newest Curlsmith bonding oil. It is a brand new product that they launched as part of their strength recipe line. It is quite a revolutionary bonding and strengthening and protein enriched oil that I will talk about with you, and talk about oils in general and so many other ingredients and products that are going to work in your benefit while you are discovering your curls along your curly hair journey. So stay tuned because we've got a lot of fixing to do, okay? Without further ado, let's get to it. So why do you keep having bad hair days? Well, let's start off with the first struggle and one of the first fundamental things that you need to know in regards to your hair, and this is going to be your hair's porosity. Knowing your hair's porosity is going to be one of the most important things that's going to help you determine what kinds of products to use, how much product to use, besides how much hair you have. It's going to be much more valuable information than knowing what your curl pattern is, because, fun fact, your curl pattern can change. It does change, especially if you're going from a damaged state to a healthy state. You can try all day to figure out where you land on the inaccurate, irrelevant curl chart that isn't going to tell you much about how you should be styling your hair. Or you could do a good old porosity test, which is going to help you understand your hair's needs. Now, as a very simple guide to porosity, your porosity is going to be your hair's ability to absorb moisture and water, which it doesn't really need. Our hair is naturally hydrophobic. It avoids water. So if your hair avoids water, you are on the low porosity end of the scale. And if you have low porosity hair, it is super healthy. Low porosity hair is truly the goal, because that means your cuticle is nice and tight and intact, and your hair should have a really nice natural shine. And with it being some of the healthiest hair, you're probably not colored as well. Now, if we go on the other complete opposite side of the spectrum of the scale, high porosity hair would be extremely, let's say, thirsty hair, damaged hair that actually does soak up a lot of water, could stay wet for a long time, but then it also spits water back out, and not just water, but also color, all these things. Your hair cannot hold on too much because its protective layer, its cuticle, is compromised, it's damaged, there's holes in the strands. This means you're gonna need to do a lot of sealing on your hair strands to truly coat and condition them and give them shine, and so that they retain their moisture. To determine what your hair's porosity is, you should clarify your hair, give yourself a nice deep cleanse, make sure there's no buildup on it, and then based on how rough your strands are, how fast they absorb water, hint, if they're high porosity, they're going to suck in all water, and based on how fast it spits it out, or just by knowing your hair's history. For example, if you have bleached your hair and done damaging things to it, your answers to these questions are going to help you determine where you fall on the scale. And you can also check out an older video of mine helping you determine that as well. Moving on to our second struggle. Now that you know what your hair's porosity is, if you're not understanding protein and moisture balance and why our hair needs both, and how to determine how much you might need in your routine, then you are bound to continue struggling. This is a real eye-opener moment for both you and me and everybody. And while I did also create a full guide, like a complete video, I called it the ultimate guide to protein moisture balance, which you should definitely check out. What you need to know about protein moisture balance is it truly does change. Our hair has needs, and while our hair is in different states, while our hair changes throughout the year, as we maybe go in with different hair changes. When we cut our hair, it becomes healthier. When we color our hair, it becomes more damaged. When we're in the sun, our hair becomes more damaged. When we're in the winter, hair becomes more dry. Our hair's needs are going to change throughout the year. throughout any given wash day. And so understanding protein moisture balance is determining what recipe you need to cocktail with your hair products to create a magical just hair on a silver platter or golden platter. Rose golden platter. Do you see any rose gold hints in my hair? Your eyes are not playing tricks on you. It did a thing. Talk about that another day. Tea break. I'm a tea snob, and my tea is David's. David's tea. I love you. Where was I? Correct. Back to our protein moisture balance. What you need to know is that while our hair is made up of protein, the more damaged your hair is, the less protein is in it. Or rather, the more your natural protein degrades. Because again, your cuticle, your hair is compromised. This is why our hair, the more damaged it is, the more protein is going to be beneficial in your routine to help replenish. Now, remember what I said about high porosity hair loving oils. Our hairs in a healthy state should be hydrophobic, scared of water. Oils, which do not mix with water, also make it hydrophobic. And this oil specifically, the new Curlsmith bonding oil, is not like any other oil I've seen because it is enriched with vegan protein, which is derived from delicious ingredients like chickpeas, lentils, and quinoa proteins. This very lightweight oil is also in an olive oil base. It also contains apricot kernels and castor seeds and smells absolutely delicious. If you smelled any Curlsmith product, especially their Curlsmith Strength Recipe line, which is the purple collection, this has that same fruity scent, which smells completely edible, but don't eat it. Just feed it to your strands, preferably on clean, dry hair after you have styled it. But maybe you're like me and you like to do some oil treatments before you wash your hair, which can have a lot of benefits. I'll talk about it in a couple minutes. And that is something that you can do, again, before washing, maybe the night before as a pre-poo oil treatment. But let's talk about washing for a moment, shall we? This is the third troubleshooting struggle we need to talk about, because if you're not using the correct cleanser that is going to match your hair and your hair's needs, throw the whole wash day away. I like to categorize cleansers into 3 different categories. You have your clarifying category. These are going to be your true cleansing shampoos that are going to remove all buildup, maybe even chelate as well, help to remove mineral buildup, chlorine, these types of things, which everyone should be doing at least once a month, just for a good old reset, refresh. Then you have your daily shampoo, your regular. She may be moisturizing, she may be repairing, she might be sulfate free, so a little bit more gentle, good for everyday use if you wash your hair a lot, because you don't need to be clarifying every single day, okay? But you also don't want to be using our third category, co-washes, very gentle shampoos, like moisturizing shampoos that are going to be heavy and not necessarily all that cleansing because they're made to more deposit and condition the hair. These are good if, again, you do wash your hair very often and you have very dry hair, but she cannot be the only biche in the bundle, okay? I always recommend having at least 2 different types of shampoos in your shower. Clarifying one has to be one of them. And based on if your hair feels really, really dry, or if your hair feels really itchy, flaky, your scalp is oily, and there's just a lot of gunk and buildup, in that case, damn, I should have added a 4th category. Then there's the scalp treatment shampoos. I have a full playlist about scalp care, so if you're looking specifically for scalp care tips, definitely check that out. But in terms of, again, cleansing and picking the right shampoo, you need to do what feels right for you on your wash day. So using the same shampoo every single day could be the reason why you're just not having good hair days. Now on to styling. If throughout your styling process, you are not saturating your hair, then that's the reason why you're struggling. Hair saturation is a big issue. Here's what I see often. 1, the hair is overly saturated with too much water, and then if your hair is way too wet and it's soaking and it's dripping and you're applying your product, it's going to become very, very diluted to the point where the product can't even function how it's supposed to because it's been completely watered down, and therefore you aren't getting the hold and the results and everything that you need from your styling products. But more importantly, not saturating the hair, either not saturating the hair enough with water, applying product on hair that is inconsistently wet is going to give you some problems. So it's important to make sure your hair is consistently saturated, either that's wet or that's damp from root to tip, and then making sure that you're saturating your hair with enough product. Now, to know if you have enough product in your hair, there's a little test you can do while your hair is on the damp side, and that is by simply grabbing it into a ponytail per se, giving it a light grip with your fingers as if it's in a ponytail, and that should measure about how much product you're going to need, give or take a little bit depending on the length of your hair. But also how you are saturating it throughout your hair is going to be very important. If you are simply plopping your styling product here, then this is why you are having issues. You want to make sure that you saturate the product, especially where it needs it most. So it's typically on your ends. So distributing it evenly with your hands, and also perhapsively, if your hair likes styling with a brush, brushing it through with your brush to make sure it gets every single strand, roots to tip, back and front, side to side, to the right now, to the left, take it back now, y'all. Brushing through is how I like to make sure the hair is completely saturated in products, and once you are there, you should not be struggling so much with your hair. I'm kidding, that's only like step number 4. Moving on to the 5th thing that you could be struggling with that we need to kind of troubleshoot here is how you are applying those products. So there's 2 types of people in this world. The people that layer their products and the people that mix. Now, a lot of times if you're mixing your products together, like you got your leave-in, you put a cream or a gel or a mousse all in one bundle in your hand, and you slap that concoction on your head at the same time, this could cause you lots of problems. I actually showed you a side-by-side of this on my hair in a previous video that you can watch. It's cocktailing, or aka mixing, versus layering. Now, layering may probably yield you better results with your styling, because put it this way, the products would be made as one if they were meant to be applied as one. Layering your products in an appropriate order, starting with your more moisturizing creams and leave-ins, and finishing with your more holding gels and mousses, what have you. We layer one at a time, then we dry, and then we finish with our finishing oils to seal, smooth, soften, and just lock in all that juicy moisture that we just achieved from our wash day styling. Now, something, I need to be honest with you for a moment, something that you can't fix with an oil at the end with your sealing is a bad wash day to start with. While it will help to smooth frizz a little bit, you can't save all of it. The best tip for avoiding frizz is preventing it from happening and catching it while it is still wet. If your hair looks really frizzy while it is wet, while you're styling and applying your products, you're noticing the curls aren't, clumping together. It's only going to be just as frizzy or more frizzy once it is dry. So address the frizz while you still can, while the hair is wet, by adding a little bit of water, and try brushing through the section. Use your detangling brush or a styling brush, anything with fine bristles, so not a wide tooth comb, to help smooth your strands. It's truly going to kind of smooth down all those short little strands that may be creating a lot of frizz for you, and it's going to help to tuck them into place. Seal all that in with a gel, and you should notice that you will have much less frizz. That tip is also going to help you if your clumps are stringy, or rather you don't even notice clumps. What do I mean by that? Our curls, where they naturally gather and clump while our hair is wet and conditioned, we see them the most. I like to call those our curl families. Now, we often break up those curl families if we brush without tension, if we rake and fuss with the hair too much. All these things are going to leave you with curls that are looking stringy. So go back, make sure it is, again, saturated with water and enough product. Brush it through with tension, and you should notice a big difference. this is our next struggle we're going to troubleshoot. Brushing with tension. When you are brush styling the hair, this is a big tip. This is a big tip that I see a lot of people do wrong. If you are brushing with a flaccid arm and just like just anyways, if you're just brushing through very gently, it's not gonna do anything for you or me. So take your brush, whatever brush you're using. You could be using a styling brush, or like me, even just use your detangling brush. A brush with a good amount of bristles or teeth that are going to help smooth the hair because they're going to give you a good amount of tension. And while you are brushing through, I want you to take your other hand and press. So you are sandwiching your hair between your hand and the bone, the back of the brush. The spine, flat part. Press it together, and as you smooth it through, you are truly helping to lay down any frizz and flyaways, and it's going to press those curls together to create a gorgeous curl clump. This works on all types of curls, wavy, curly, and coily. Next problem. I think this is number 8. If you are too rough with the hair and aggressively brushing hair that isn't protected with a styling product, with a detangler, with a serum, something that is going to help protect your strands, and you're overly aggressive with your tools or your hands, this is going to cause damage to your hair that may not look bad today, but over time just gets worse and worse and worse until suddenly you just can't get your hair to sit right, like ever, and it's giving you major problems. So you definitely want to be gentle with your precious strands, especially if you have finer hair textures. Like me, I'm like fine to medium. If you have coarse hair, you got like horse hair, okay? It's strong, but you still want to be gentle with your tresses. That way, they don't go through stresses, okay? That's fine. Let's move on to number 9. The way in which you do all of this styling that I'm talking about, the position you are in is going to have an effect on how your hair looks. There's a lot of people that like to style their hair upside down, and that is because it is believed to give you much more volume. And while this can be kind of true, everyone's routine is going to look different, right? For example, I just did an upside down routine, and let me tell you, the bird's nest that happened at the back of my head was just not ideal for me. And it's something that happens a lot of the times when we're upside down styling. So keep in mind the position that you are in, and keep in mind also your hair's density. I saw a really great tip by Gina Marie. She's a fantastic curly creator on both YouTube and Instagram. And she talked about styling for really fine hair and low density hair where you can see some scalp and rootage area. If that is something you're struggling with, styling upside down may not help you, and you should be styling with your hair in an upright position. So that way, for example, if the hair is styled upside down, once it falls, it does not separate the scalp as much. If you already section it and style it to sit this way, you may be able to camouflage and hide any scalp at the root area while you are styling and while the hair is dry. I thought that was an excellent tip, and I've always been a big fan of upright styling rather than doing upside down because it can look a little funky in the back. But hey, if you have tips and tricks for styling upside down and not getting the back to look, a little crazy, do leave those tips in the comment section below. And if you've made it through, we're over halfway through these tips and tricks and struggles, give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already and you're liking it, and we shall continue. We've talked a lot about styling, setting the hair. That's what styling is. You are applying products on your wet hair to help control it so you can get an ideal end result. But all of those efforts can get thrown into the trash if you are impatient while drying. Whether you are air drying, which don't really recommend, not for all the time. If you are someone that's really keen on air drying, the best tip I have for you is to dry your hair as fast as possible, because leaving your hair in a very prolonged wet state is not healthy, not for the hair strands. You are drowning them. It causes internal damage that blow drying with a blow dryer can't even do, and can be a really big cause for creating split ends. Get a fan, get a microfiber towel, do whatever you can to help speed up the dry time, or diffuse, but don't be impatient. Do not touch the hair while it's drying. No touchy, and then no struggy. You won't be struggling with your hair so much once it is dried and frizzy, because it won't be frizzy if you just let the hair set in the style that you have now created with your styling products. So by not touching the strands as much while they are drying, at least until they have started to create a shell, this strong cast that a lot of holding products, defining products, gels and mousses and creams can give you, that crunchy cast. Until we have that, you truly do not want to touch the hair. So there's different ways to diffuse, and I created a video on 3 different ways to diffuse, whether you're looking for volume, definition, elongation. But again, just remember that patience while we are drying is going to be very key and very important. I'm not finished talking to you, but I want to just express the importance of a finishing product and a finishing oil or serum, something like the Curlsmith bonding oil, which is honestly the ultimate finishing oil, because again, the hairs that are going to become the most dry and the most frizzy going out into humidity are the hairs that are already the most damaged. Your cuticle is penetrable by moisture in the environment, and so we want to seal that all in. And using a sealing oil that also has protein that is going to help to penetrate into your strands and repair it from the inside out, while also giving a protective coating, while also being very lightweight, may I add, and very potent. Okay, you don't need a lot of it. Applying something like this is going to help give your hair that protective barrier to go out and live your best life. If you don't protect your hair overnight and you sleep like a wrestler, or you work out like you're training for some big boxing match, listen, you can't come to me complaining, because there are ways to protect your hairs while you do these things, and that includes anything satin. Anything with that satin, silky, shiny feel is going to be super gentle on your hair and prevent frizz. This is why I sleep with my bonnet every night. I have a couple that I use in rotation, but I also, I work out at home. If I work out, I wear my bonnet then, or if I'm looking for a little bit more ventilation, I will use a styling scarf on my head. This is a silk one. This one is by Style Fiend. Whether it's a scarf, a scrunchie, bonnet, something satin and silky, wearing these accessories are going to help protect your hair while you are working out to prevent bad hair days from occurring. That being said, remove them sooner rather than later, especially if you're working out while your hair is kind of damp with sweat. Let it breathe by removing all your accessories. That way it doesn't dry in whatever pulled back, stretched out state you had it in. Now the next thing, and we're almost done, this video topic can definitely have a part 2, but number 14, if you do not anticipate for it to precipitate, then, well, don't know what to tell you. But if you know that it's going to be raining, being mindful of your hair's routine and what I mentioned about styling and layering your products, making sure that that last product that you use is truly sealing. It's going to help to have a sealing effect on the hair to lock out the humidity. You want to make sure you get a really occlusive, hydrophobic barrier on the hair, and also just make sure that the hair doesn't get wet. And you can do this by wearing really chic accessories. I really love these fashion turbans. These are from L'Occitane. They're satin lined. And you can also check out, for more help, other fall and just rainy day. I have rainy day routines that you can see right above me. Lastly, this is a big one. This is a big one. But the reason why you keep having bad hair days is simply because your hair is dead. Moment of silence. Everyone's hair is dead, technically. Hair is not alive. It is not breathing. It's not like our skin. It's a fiber. However, the hair can be really dead, really damaged and frail and breaking and splitting. There's not much you can do to save your hair besides a haircut. A good old stainless steel treatment. Professionally done would be ideal. But as someone with curly hair that also does have some trust issues, I have created and shared some different at-home hair cutting techniques that you can do to simply manage splitting ends that you could simply do on your own just to manage and upkeep your hair and keep it healthy, because once it's dead, it's dead. There's no way you can bring it back, but some ways that you can prevent your hair from becoming that state is by just being regular with, again, your trims and also your treatments. And specifically, one way that you can actually prevent things like split ends is by oiling the hair. So using a hair oil. I'm gonna mention this one again because it's new and I've just been so impressed with it. I'm in love with it. Not just because I'm working with Curlsmith and I've worked with them plenty of times before, but also because of that, I know I love their products. I trust them. Could not recommend them enough. This is a product that I would recommend that could actually help reduce split ends from forming. It's preventative. By regularly applying these, especially to your most damaged areas, oiling the hair is a fantastic practice to keep it hydrophobic and keep that natural shine as well. That, my friends, is 15 reasons why you keep having bad hair days and ways that we can troubleshoot these things with some styling solutions. Oh my goodness, I just talked for an hour and 20 minutes straight. My throat is screaming. No, I'm kidding. That wasn't even bad. I've had my tea once again. It's good for me. I want to thank Curlsmith for working with me on today's video. Again, you can check out their new bonding oil at the link in the description box below. I also have a discount code which you can use on the Curlsmith website for money off. So those details will be in the description box below as well as any products that I think are going to be fundamental that you could use to help you on your hair journey and hopefully help you from struggling. Let me know if I should make a part 2 just for you, because there's more. There's other things I could have mentioned, but this is like the fundamentals. I am so happy to be here with you and to continue to share helpful tips and tricks and videos just like this one each and every Texture Tuesday with sometimes more. Until the next one, I am out. Peace. Do not kill me right now because this is a dress, and if you think I have it buttoned down, it doesn't fit me. It's my C-stairs. I could not wear this out in public, but it does look cute in the video. My lipstick might look busted and crusted. I don't know. It's the most, you guys know it's fall now, right? So it's the most wonderful time. It's almost Halloween time. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna cry all the time. What was I saying? This video is not sponsored by Godiva. Godiva? Godiva. Good evening. But it is evening, and it is also the best mug that I have. You might as well call me Miley because I'm gonna turn that frown into a smiley and show you that everybody has those days. Everybody gets that way. We can all wake up now. September has almost ended, and we need to wake up and head right over, if you're still watching this before September 30th or on September 30th, head over to the AIAawards.com/vote and vote me, your main girl Mel, as Emerging Hairstylist of the Year. It's just a really big deal for me, and your vote would mean the absolute world, and it might get me to win an award. That is going to be key. Locket, pocket, polka dotted. I don't know, but it's key. I am also rereading Twilight, so maybe that's why Can you look at my bookmark? It's Excel gum. Tangent. Minor tangent. I went to Chapters and I bought Midnight Sun, and I'm so excited to read Midnight Sun right after I finish Twilight. I'm halfway through. The way this series has me in a chokehold, please let me know if you're also part of the Twilight fandom. And please follow, if you're on TikTok, Twilight Talk. Love her so much. Styling. Cobwebs? Spooky.